Hello there, and welcome once again to another episode of this podcast channel. Today, I have a little bit of a controversial topic, and that is what is disruption? We're not a setback, but rather an opportunity. And I know this may sound like, no, disruption, not good, not okay. But I invite you to stay and watch because there's so many insights you will going to harness from today's videos that they may change the way in which you approach aspects of your life that will bring you the most transformation and the most well-being. So I hope you'll stay and watch and comment and be with me. And as a reminder, please subscribe to this channel. And thank you for being here and for following when I do a video and a podcast. Thank you. And let's dive right in. This video is now on this moment in which many planets that had been going retrograde, and especially Mercury, which is the planet of communication, technology, is now finally beginning to move forward once again. And oh boy, did we have disruption this year with Mars going retrograde at the very beginning of the year. Soon, immediately after, we had Venus going retrograde. Immediately after, we had Mercury going retrograde. Then we had an eclipse. And when all these astrological things happen, they create disruption in our lives. Regardless of what's happening in your life, what's happening for us as humanity in this year is one major disruption with capital D. We are going to be in a transformation path, no matter what our choices are, no matter what age we have, no matter what is it that we are doing in our lives. Transformation with capital T is the name of the game for humanity in this moment. And I know it's not easy because my life, if I were to share with you my life since childhood up until now, is one big transformation. And I had to become really adept at overcoming the challenges, the disruptions, and understanding with a broader look that what was happening maybe wasn't that bad. Maybe there was some silver lining to it. And I know this is a trite concept, the silver lining, but there's so much more I want to share with you. And I want to help you to look at it specifically for your life. Whenever I do a video like this one, I'm never operating alone. I have guides and beings of love and light that are directly connected to the most benevolent God or creator or mother, father, God. And when you listen to what I'm about to say, you're getting a transmission in between my words that goes beyond what I as a human could do for you. So the invitation is for you to be receptive to this, you may call it activation or transmission, so that you can be in an uplifted state, not only when you listen, but also to tackle what's in front of you in your life. It is because of this that to start, I'm asking you to tune into your own life at this moment for just a few seconds and bring to front of mind the things that are happening for you right now that you may feel are disruptions. You may feel there are delays of obtaining the desired goals. You may have already thought that these things are negative and that you don't want them in your life, or any of these type of judgments or statements that we assign to things happening in your life. And I want you to go big and go small. There may be things that are really, really dramatic happening in your life, and I don't want to minimize that. You may be losing a dear one. You yourself may be going through a moment of disease, or there may be softer issues like wanting a different type of job and not being able to get it, wanting a promotion and for some reason it's elusive, or anything in between here and there. And the first concept that's important that I want us to agree upon as you tune into these things that I'm saying, and I'm asking you to tune into these things so that you have them here energetically with you as we move through this shift of consciousness, is that life doesn't happen to you, but it happens for you. And that tiny shift of understanding that life happens for us and not to us already creates a big shift. Can you see that? So when you tune into the fact that life happens for you, you realize that actually whatever it is that's happening is something for you, a gift, an opportunity. So many people say challenges are really opportunities. Yes, this is also what I want to share with you. Let's talk about disruption per se to move forward in this conversation. So you're doing something, you're coming along, you have a project, things go great, and suddenly things don't go great anymore. Something happens, a person in the project changes and they may not be showing up fully like they were at the beginning. Somebody else that you were counting upon has a big change of heart. Maybe you had a partner that changes happen in his or her life and they no longer want to come along. Maybe the boss changes just as you had gone great with your current boss. This new boss comes along and not only they don't know anything about you, but maybe you don't even have that nice harmonic interchange that you had with the other boss, and maybe your promotion may be at stake. And whatever it is that's happening in your life, maybe it's something bigger. Like I said, maybe it's a dis-ease, a lack of ease. Dis-ease, disharmony, something is happening there, telling you something. Maybe it is something happening deeply with a baby that doesn't come to term, or oh my gosh, the human experience, right? There's so many things happening. It is so broad. And that's why when we are stopped in our tracks with disruption, we tend to see it as something negative because we would want nothing best that I want to go there, straight line, I get there. However, the way the human experience is designed is that when everything works great and when we go along and no challenges and things just keep going and we get everything we want, life becomes flat. Eventually, there's no joy, there's no growth, there's no expansion of our consciousness. And as humans, we need to be moving forth even one tiny degree, one tiny step, day after day after day, because if we are not expanding, if we are not moving forth one step at a time, if we are not really improving in that one tiny degree, since the world is moving forth, since the universe is moving forth at such speed, we are actually regressing. We're not even staying in the same point. So invitation number one is, okay, disruption. I'm looking at it. Why is this happening? Why is this disruption appearing in my life? And the biggest skill of a spiritual seeker or as a person that is seeking to expand their ability to be fulfilled in life is to become curious, curiosity. Because when we get upset about whatever is happening in our lives, what we do energetically is this: we push back. But whenever we push back, whenever we put resistance in anything, that same energetic comes back to us. We get pushed back. So whatever is happening becomes even more in our face. It becomes bigger. It becomes more evident. It becomes more difficult. And so number one trick to begin is, let's get curious. Let's accept it. Okay, this is happening. Okay, not happy about this. Why is this happening? Not why me, okay? Why is this happening? What is the gift of this situation? What information is it giving me? What is there for me to learn in this experience so that my heart can expand, my life can become even more expanded, more fulfilled, more on purpose? So things may happen like you lose a loved one and you may say, well, why? Why did I have to lose my beloved, my dad, my mom? I lost my sister when I was 19, my dad when I was 20, and my grandma when I was 21. All of it happened within 18 months. And let me tell you, it was very rough. And if I look back, I can see that those three episodes tied together were the biggest and most enormous gift of life for me because they led me into a journey of discovery, which led me to be who I am today, even as a spiritual teacher, as a galactic coach, as a medicine woman. It started then. I was seeking answers. I was 19 and I couldn't understand why so much tragedy was happening. And that led me into meeting the first teacher that taught me that I had an energetic hand, how meditation works. And that started in my awareness when I was 19. And let me tell you, at a time in Argentina, we're talking more than 40 years ago, I was born and raised in Argentina, where we had the dictatorship, the military dictatorship. And if you were to speak out loud the fact that you were a meditator, you could have be deemed a person to put in the bad list and killed. It was the time of this desaparecidos. It wasn't an easy time to be a teenager or quasi adult. So everything had to happen hush, 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 hush. But it opened a world for me, a world that I started pulling from that thread year upon year, and it went up and down and more, and new teachers came into my life. But it was the biggest opening, I would say the biggest opening into what my life path showed up to be. And the same may be true for you in a different way, but you may lose a loved one. And well, we know if we come to earth and we are birthed, we know that the end is a certainty. We all are born and then we pass. So no matter what, we're all going to pass, including ourselves. So when someone we love passes, their soul for sure has done what they were here to do. Could it have been too short? Potentially, for you, for your point of view. So the question for you is, okay, what is happening for me? Because normally the passing of a loved one and the pain and the grief we have has to do with us, not with them. They're for sure in a better, expansive state of beingness. And if they were struggling or in any way before passing, for sure they're doing amazing. So it is us who miss them. It is us who struggle and who would want them here. Our grief has to do with us. And the questions could be, well, what do I miss about them? What about me happened when we were together? What kind of reflection this person gave me of myself that I can claim as being mine? Or any other experience, begin getting curious. Why is this experience happening for me? How can I look into this experience with a broader perspective, understanding the challenges that are there for me, the lessons that are there for me, the doorways that are opening for me? For example, a business venture that is not going the way you want, or a promotion that is not happening. Maybe the question to ask is this path the one I'm following, the one I thought that I wanted but is not happening? Is it for my highest and best? Maybe life is just showing you that actually, even though you think you will be happy over there, you will not. And the sooner you see it, the better. So we're not going to give you the outcome. So you veer off this path into another path. And granted, in the veering off through this disruption, you may be lost for a while. And there's a gift in being lost. The gift is opportunity, because when we're lost, when we're in a state that is a liminal state, a state between no longer the past and the future is not yet here, we're in a state of complete uncertainty, a state of, I don't know what's coming. And in that space, possibility is infinite. Anything can happen. You get to choose again. You get to look at all of the possibilities and say, well, if that didn't happen, what do I really want? So in any ways you look at disruption, there's a gift in disruption. But that's not only the thing, is that if we expand disruption and we take it as a challenge and therefore as an opportunity, we can see that the path of humanity as a whole and individually of every human being becomes a more expanded, more fulfilled path. when we move beyond these things that stretch us to move beyond our comfort zone. The comfort zone is wonderful, but eventually it gets boring and it makes our lives small. Evolution is at the other side of overcoming the disruption, the opportunities. Oftentimes, disruption offers an opportunity for quantum leaps, for alchemical mutations, for transmutations. You look back at who you were then and you can't even recognize that person. I can tell you that this is a reality in my life. When I look back, even 2 years ago, I don't have to look back. Well, if I look back 10 years ago, I can't begin to tell you. I'm 20, let's not even go there. I can't even recognize who I was. But I wouldn't be who I am today without all of those challenges, without having overcome all those moments. And let me tell you, there were moments where I felt separate from creation. I thought I wanted my life to end. They weren't easy. But I'm here now on this side of that journey, understanding that we are one. We're one with creation. We're one with each other. And what we do affects every single human on earth and ourselves. And what others do affects you too. I want to take you one more level. And I know you may be resistant to what I am about to say. But what if you could really own the fact that whatever exists in your life in this moment is a result of your co-creation? Whatever life is presenting in front of you is the result of past thoughts, words, and actions. That's how the universal laws of manifestation work. As you think, speak, do, and emote, you create. So here's another part. When you're feeling victim, when you're feeling down, when you're asking, why me? I don't want, and you're throwing a tantrum, or you're feeling a victim, powerless, you're actually not realizing that since you created whatever is in front of you, and you may have not created it only in this moment, in this timeline, your soul, before coming to earth, designed this script for you to play out this script for your highest and best, for your soul's evolution, for the plan that your soul set up so that you could live the most beautiful expression of who you are. You can see this very clearly in a human design chart. In your human design chart, you can see very clearly the tools, the skills, the opportunities that you actually wired into your being by choosing to be born in this body, in this lineage, in this karmic line. The good news is that the same way in which you created this, you can create something more beautiful. The first time that I was confronted with this powerful, maybe also demoralizing truth was around the time when I was 30. I was deep into doing the work to heal my childhood wounds. I was going to 5-day retreats. I was doing it all. I was meditating, and I realized that my life was a mess. I was separating from my first husband, who I thought was the one with whom I was going to create a family and live until I was old. And I was forced to return from the US to my country of origin, which was Argentina, because my visa expired and I couldn't stay. It's a long story. Lots of things were happening that were not at all what I desired. And it was messy. It was emotionally messy. It was practically messy. And in that moment, in that deep moment of this very young woman that I was, I had this thunderstruck thought, the thought of, you created this mess. What you're experiencing is your creation. But together with that thought came the thought, if you dug this hole for you this deep, you can also come out of this hole and create something new. So just get on it. And it was the most mind-blowing, empowering thought. At times it was a little bit freakish and very frightening. Like, I created this. This is very messy. How do you clean such a big mess? It takes a lot of work, one step at a time. But that's how I did it. One step at a time, with the encouragement and the strength of knowing that I was building the future I wanted because now I was more aware. And the same is true for you now. So these disruptions, these challenges, these not reaching the desired goals have such gems of information for you. They're giving you information about things you may have not been aware of, or things that were showing as red flags and you were choosing not to look at. And here's the other thing that's happening in this moment of the age of Aquarius, in this moment of ascension, is that as a gift, because the evolution is moving at such fast speed, things that 30 years ago would have taken a lot longer, maybe 30 years ago, like I was in that journey, my guides and the evolutionary timeline were allowing me to veer off path for a full year or 2 years. And then I had to come back from very far away. Well, nowadays, as soon as I veer off path, boom, no, that's not the path. And the same is true for all of us. In some way or another, we are being shown a lot faster that we're off track. And even though that can be very frustrating, it's also an enormous blessing because we are shown that we're not where we need to be a lot faster. We're not allowed to mess it deeply. We're not taken into the deepest mess. That is, of course, if you're listening. Because when we don't listen, when we're given that, don't go there, but we still go there, don't go there, and we still go there, and we still go there, and we still go there, we're digging a hole that, yes, it's bigger, but not because they were not trying to, not because our life was not trying to show us, but because we were choosing not to look at that. And oftentimes we choose not to look at that because we're afraid of what it would mean if we look at that. And what it would mean is that we made choices that took us there. But it's never too late. Just grab that bull by the horns, look at what is happening in front of you, and choose to take over, to bring back and choose to call back your power and to own the fact that you are co-creator, that I am, dot, dot, dot. Whatever you put after I am is truth with capital T. So what is it that I am? What is it that you are? That is the journey of understanding the power that you have and that you may not be claiming. And when you become a victim of the situation, or when you become sad or angry at the disruption, you're actually giving your power away. Claim it, call it back in, and raise your frequency, because from a higher perspective, you can look at things and see completely new ways of being. One of the most beautiful metaphors that I love about the shamanic trainings that I've had is that when we work with power animals and we work with the condor, which is the most powerful and enormous winged one in South America, and the eagles in North America, is that when a lion who is powerful is walking through the jungle and there's a wall, what the lion sees is a wall. But when you rise up and soar like the condor or the eagle, what they see is a line, just a line. And that happens to you too. And through seeing the line, they can see what's over this side of the line, what's over that side of the line. And through a higher perspective, you can see ways out that you wouldn't see from a lower perspective. And then, well, how do you raise your frequency? Well, you raise your frequency insisting in meditating, insisting in creating peaceful, quiet stillness in your life, to listen to those whispers of your higher self or your divine self, because they speak in very low voice, and building this connection so that you can hear that voice, that wise voice that will give you the hints, and you will be able to bring forth those cosmic crumbs like Hansel and Gretel, cosmic Hansel and Gretel crumbs that will show you the next step and the next step. And sure enough, you will create beauty, and you will realize when you're at the other side of the disruption or the challenge that you will have transformed in ways that you will be in awe. And the most beautiful thing is that you will be fulfilled and happy and joyful and expanded and on purpose. And last about this is to really tune in into what is your inner authority. What is that decision process you go through when you are confronted with choices in your life? In human design, it is so beautifully explained how your authority is the one that really shows you the way, and how many times we do not honor that decision authority. For some of us is an emotional curve. It's to allow that curve to land. For other of us is that immediate gut response that says yes or no. For other of us is like a quick intuition immediate that says move that way. For some of us is a soft whisper in our solar plexus and takes a while to really listen. For other of us is to really allow for a full cycle of the moon to make our decision. And there's such beauty in understanding that. And if you're curious about your human design, I do invite you to book a reading with me to look at what is the manual of operation for you? What are the opportunities for you, your fortes, so that you can use all that acumen into creating the life of your dreams. I will leave a link with how to do that in the description to this video. Beautiful ones, thank you for being here and for watching. I hope you gathered important insights about how disruption and challenges are really immense opportunities for us to evolve, to uplift, to uplevel, and to truly live the life that is for our highest and best. Thank you for being here. Please remember to subscribe to this channel. As you watch and this has meaning for you, please share it with your loved ones. Help me share my voice. Thank you, and many blessings in this adventure that is life.